Welcome to another episode of Candid Football Conversations. And in today's show, I have Aditi Chauhan. First of all, Aditi, thanks you so much for taking time off. It's a difficult time for you. And the first question, of course, has to be is, how are you doing?
Well, that's actually a difficult answer to give, honestly, Arunava, because everyone keeps asking me this, but I don't really have an answer apart from just saying that yes, I'm okay, I'm doing all right, and because that's all I can say. I mean, there's so many emotions, it's hard to express everything that I'm going through right now. But yeah, I'm all right. I'll get through it. That's all I can say.
How much of an effort, how much of hard work is it to try and regain full fitness for you?
It's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a long and hard one. Yeah, I mean, at least a few months before I can actually step on the field and start the basics again. Yeah, I mean, this is an injury that can really take a toll on you because you have to learn, you're basically learning how to walk again after an injury like this. So it starts from there. It basically starts from scratch. Yeah, so I'm just hoping that my muscle memories, work well and can get back to full fitness soon.
How's the National Federation been helping you? You got injured while playing for India.
Yeah, so I've been in constant touch with them. We're trying to figure out a way to actually come out with a policy because right now I don't think the federation has a policy. They have the insurance cover to cover the surgery expenses, but obviously I'm sure everyone knows that the major expense apart from the surgery is the rehab that needs to be covered. So I am in constant touch with the AIFF to figure out and to just trying to really push to for them to come up with a policy that can that can be there for everyone, all the players.
And that's, I think, a very, very important thing because
Yeah,
you are not the
it's a
first and
basic.
you will
It's
not, yeah,
yeah,
and you will not be the last who will be injured on
absolutely,
international duty for India. And again, for senior players, it's different. I think it's even more important for junior players who get injured,
absolutely,
who most probably don't
especially
have
for
the
girls.
financial background.
Absolutely, and especially for women because the men they are there. I think insurance and everything is covered, and rehab is covered by the clubs, by their professional clubs. But for girls, it's a very tough journey to financially. Apart from physical and mental thing that they have to go through, financially also it's a huge burden for them.
And that's hopefully going to be taken care of. As we love to do here on Candid Football Conversations, which is, of course, a collaboration between Sports Company and Arunfoot, go a little bit into deeper into the background of where this whole career of people started, when be it on the field, be it in coaching or be it in management. Um, you have a number of hats on, but let's start with the playing career. The young Aditi Chauhan, was football for the little Aditi an option of playing and making a potentially a career out of it, or how did it all start for you?
Not at all. It still isn't. It still isn't a career choice for girls in India. Unfortunately, not yet, at least. Back then when I started, I didn't even know that there was a Indian national team, women's team playing for India, playing representing the country. That was a possibility. I honestly started purely because I fell in love with the game. I didn't know what this direction or what this career path would take me to. I had to figure out everything on my own while I was on this journey. Just trying to, challenge myself, challenge and see how, what I really wanted to do. A lot of things that have come in my career and that have happened are purely because of, my never give up attitude. I think, just trying to figure out, my brain's always switched on. I'm just trying to figure out what could be the next step. And that is the reason why I have these multiple hats on, like you mentioned, because just trying to figure out how do I keep going and pursuing while I, maintain the financial aspect of it and looking at the long term perspective and long term career.
Goalkeeper, was that a position that you immediately fell in love with, or someone sort of told you or pushed you into that position of standing between the sticks?
I'm sure if you ask any of the goalkeepers, they'll always say that they have this internal striker in them. And I did too. When I, when initially, obviously, initially goalkeeping wasn't my it wasn't my decision. It was my basketball coach who suggested that the skills that I've developed through basketball and other sports that I used to play while growing up were really really would be helpful in as a when if you play as a goalkeeper with the hand-eye coordination, athleticism, reading the game. I think obviously I was good in studies also, so probably that was also a reason that they suggested that I should try it as a goalkeeper. But as I was when I was in college, I loved playing as a striker. Any opportunity that I got to go up front, I would go there. I you remember I even scored a goal from header and a corner kick playing as a goalkeeper. I went up and scored in college. So that was always there, but but slowly I realized that I never enjoyed running too much. So I slowly realized that ये नहीं हो पाएगा लॉन्ग टर्म नहीं मेरे आई एम गुड एंड बेटर एज अ गोलकीपर डाइव करवा लो मुझसे ये रिएक्शन एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट आई रियली एंजॉय ऑल ऑफ दैट बट भगाओ मत मुझसे
You went to England, went to Loughborough University. Um, by that time, you were an established footballer in India. Of course, the system wasn't as organized as it is today. How important was it to be able to go to the UK to study, to see something different? West Ham United, of course, was a team that you played for in those days while you were there. How important was that for you as a human being, but also as a footballer?
No, that decision was also because thinking about the long-term prospect of, having a career in sports. Because while I was doing my graduation in Delhi University, I realized that sports is what makes me happy. Even, thinking at that point, we didn't really have a sports industry. This was in 2013. We didn't really have sports management courses in India. Fortunately, Delhi University's team was in New Zealand, of which I was part of. There, I got the exposure and realized there's a sports management course, there's sports media that you can study. There's so many other courses within the sports industry that you can study and make a career out of. And So that was the reason when I came back, I thought over it. I discussed with my brother, and coming from a military family, this decision of going abroad to study was a big one. Financially, it was a huge decision and something that my parents had to agree on. It was obviously, understandably, they were apprehensive. मतलब what career would you be able to make out of studying sports management? What is the career prospect? So those were the challenges. Obviously, I had to do my own research, convince my brother. Thankfully, he had the knowledge, so he also helped me convince my parents. But the main reason I went to Loughborough was to study. And thinking about the long-term prospect that I wanted to have a career in sports even after I retire from playing football. And but obviously, because I was already playing for the senior team, the other big thing was for me that UK is known for football, for men, women, everyone. The opportunities are immense. So obviously that criteria was also there while selecting the university, that I want to be part of the university team. And fortunately, and it's so amazing. You have to throughout the season, so while you're studying, you have every week you're playing two matches a week, home and away fixtures, and so you constantly competing. You're constantly getting better. And when I got after completing my course, I moved to London for my internship at Decathlon. And so that was for work when I moved to London. And again, I just wanted to challenge myself. I was already playing for the university, but I thought, there's so many more opportunities here in London. So why not experiment and test myself against UK standards, and where do I see myself? Where do I stand in this Indian setup? So that's how Millwall trial happened. That was the closest club to where I was staying. Because I was on a student visa, I could not register for a first or second division club. That's why. But the goalkeeper coach at Millwall really liked me, so he suggested that I should try out for West Ham, and that's how that thing happened.
How sad are you? I mean, you're not the first one, and you're most probably not going to be the last Indian footballer who will have failed with the work visa application in the UK. It has happened to Sunil in the past. Baichung was very, very lucky that he got it. was more of a political thing that had happened than not, that you did not get that opportunity to play in the first or the second tier of the WSL in the UK?
I honestly didn't think much of it. I mean, obviously, I was disappointed, but I was just happy to play. Honestly, even on student visa, even if I was, see, even West Ham, I was happy to play for Millwall or any club that I got an opportunity for. West Ham, fortunately, happened for me. Even the second season, I thought, after the first season when there was widely covered, I thought, it'd be easy to get the work visa, temporary work visa, whatever, and be able to play, but that never happened. But then again, I had to figure out how do I stay back for another year. I approached my university and that was completely my thought that, why don't I become like a student ambassador for the for my Loughborough University's London campus and help you recruit. You can sponsor my visa for a year. So, the second season, that's how the second season happened. So, it's just like I never gave up, just trying to figure out, like I said earlier, that is just try to figure out how do I keep going, how do I keep pushing myself. But hopefully things will get better. It will get easier because there's been a lot of development happening with the FA, with the FA, with India. A lot of collaboration. That's what I've seen in the media as well. So I think there's recently a news about making it a little bit easier to for players from India to play in the UK, which is extremely important. I think that kind of exposure, because having gotten that exposure, I know it, really helped me both on and off the field. So, and I recommend that to anyone or everyone who gets an opportunity, they should definitely try and go abroad and challenge themselves for that, challenge themselves to get better.
And I think that's a very, very important life lesson that you've had personally, that you have to try, and see where you
Yeah.
can get again. And I think that's very, very crucial as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say that, you can't just sit back and wait for things to happen. I didn't have a manager. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have someone helping me. Ki maybe this is how you can, this is probably the next step that you can take. I figured out everything on my, you have the network, you have the internet. Just use the internet, try and approach people, have conversations. बहुत हाथ पाँव मारने पड़ते हैं to if you really want to, to achieve your dreams and to pursue something. It's not easy at all. It's you literally have to give it your all, every second of the day to make things happen for yourself.
So that was the UK experience. You come back, you see the start of the IWL, a new era in Indian football. How important was it to see that finally there was a women's league as well, which was pan India, even though still now it's a very short league, and it's not played in a home and away format as it's the case in the men's.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's not where it should be or what the ideal situation of a league should be in a country at the top division of the league. There are definitely a lot of shortfalls, a lot of things that we need to and we have to improve. But when it started, I was really happy that at least that first step, because the first, I'm sure Arun, you would agree that first step is the hardest step to take. And of course, you keep developing, you keep improving, and we've seen that every season. Certain things have gotten better every season. Of course, I again say that we still aren't at the perfect condition. There's still a lot of shortfalls. We've seen that in the current season as well. But I'm sure that, with the media getting involved, with people voicing their opinion, with people, girls stepping up and realizing what they what they deserve and what they should be getting. So I think looking at all of these things, I'm very positive that, things will change. They have to change, and the only way is up from here.
And that's, I think, very, very important. I think the league is also still very, very young. I think that's another
Yeah.
understanding. I even say that in the context of the men's league, which was started in 1996, for an international, a lot of the leagues are already 50, 70, 100 year plus, and our league is not even 30 years old.
Yeah.
And the women's league is even younger. So how important has it been that you've seen over the last more than a decade, that what has happened in the women's game? Of course, it's not comparable to the women's game in other parts of the world, but if you also see that how the men's game has developed, Has enough been done for the women's game in that aspect from your standpoint, or do you think that from an AFF perspective, or even from a state association, from a club's perspective, they could and they need to do more?
Of course, they need to do more. There is no question about it. If you ask anyone, everyone would say the same thing. In fact, even the men, I'm doing this course with a lot of ISL players, and even they are not satisfied with ISL. They want more clubs. So players will never be satisfied. I think that's what I've gathered, that it's never enough. There's always scope for improvement. You always want things to be perfect, or keep getting better. And it's true. I mean, obviously, especially for women's football, we're way not even close to what the ideal situation should be. But our constant results, in spite of everything, has shown the potential. Looking at the 2047 vision that's come out, also highlights, or the import they've given importance to women's football. There have been certain announcements regarding women's football particularly, and I hope that we actually see that in action, and that is actually implemented at the end of the day. That's the most important part of all these visions that we have.
Exactly. Visions are very, very important. Ideas are very, very important to have. But the implementation of
Steps.
all these
Yeah.
is, I think, the most important. And I think that's where Indian football has been lacking for quite a while. And hopefully that will change. But again, when we come to speak about women's football, and you've mentioned 2047 and other things that have happened, one of the things that was announced recently was that the AFF president said that they want to create a new salary structure, a minimum wage, so to say, for a certain number of players in IWL and in IWL teams. How do you see this as a player?
It's a great step. I think it's a great step to take, because minimum salary is needed for players. Because right now, I know there are a lot of players who are playing free of cost or really small amounts. So a minimum salary it's a good step. I hope there are a lot of changes being announced for the IWL next season as well. So it will be interesting to see what kind of changes are actually implemented. Like I said before, that it's good to have these visions and have these scenarios, but what is the reality, what actually happens, is more important to me, and to for us, for our players, that's more important to see.
Final thing on the IWL before we move on to a little bit more about the other things that Aditi Chauhan does. You've won the IWL a few times with Gokulam Kerala. How was the feeling of lifting such a trophy, and also under sometimes very, very difficult circumstances?
Yeah, it was amazing. I've won IWL twice back to back until this season with Gokulam. And it's really special, especially to play for a club from Kerala, where we all know how the fans are passionate about the sport, about the game. One special memory, and for which I'll forever be grateful to the club and to the fans, is when we won the trophy. We went to Kerala. The club invited all of us players back in the home stadium. The stadium was packed with the fans. The men's team was playing their match, after which we kind of showcased the IWL trophy with the fans, shared that moment, shared that that win, that champion feeling with the fans. That was really special. I never thought, you've seen it. I've been in England and I've seen it happen in England. You've seen it all happen around the world. I never imagined that something like this I could actually experience myself in India. That was extremely special, and hopefully I can have a couple of more of those memories before I retire.
I think you still have you're lucky you're a goalkeeper, right? So I hope you will have a few more years to play.
Yeah.
And that comes to the national team of things, the little Aditi who was sort of switching from basketball or from another sport towards football, and then you started goalkeeping. Would the little Aditi would have ever thought that you would be able to represent the national team for such a long period?
No, not at all, not at all. And the like you highlighted, for that consistency is what matters to me so much. And that's what I really like about myself, honestly, that I've been able to be consistent with the national team. There, I've throughout my career, I've played with so many great players And but it's the consistency part that I feel, it was my hard work. It is my hard work and my, my mentality of just, as long as I'm playing, I want to be the number one goalkeeper. And I don't take myself lightly at all. Like, I keep pushing, even though I keep pushing the other players also, that every moment, and I'm overcritical about myself when I miss something, or so that is my mentality. I'm just demanding too much from myself, and that's what has been really helpful and the key factor for me to be able to be consistent over these years. It's been 15 or over 15 years now that I've been playing as the number one goalkeeper. So I'm really proud about that.
And hopefully, as I said, many years to come on that front. Let's move away a little bit from Aditi the player. We've heard a little bit about Loughborough and that you've moved into sportsman. I remember it was a conference, I think, in Mumbai, where you
Yeah.
had told me about She Kicks. Yeah,
Yes.
what you were trying to set up, and trying to help girls enter the
Yeah.
sport and maybe have a better and easier entry than someone like you would had in when you
Mm.
were young.
Yes.
Where does She Kicks stand today?
Yeah, I'm actually an owner of a club, which is absolutely crazy. Yeah, so I've registered the Shikix FC club in Football Delhi, because, like I told you, and we discussed this. You mentioned that the idea and the reason why I started Shikix in 2018 was to make this journey a little bit easier. जैसे I shared earlier that बहुत हाथ पैर मारे थे, बहुत हाथ पैर अभी भी मारती रहती हूँ. So, if the struggle, the challenges that I face, if I can make this journey a little bit easier for the next generation, for the other girls, I'd be happy with that. And that's still the intention, the vision behind She Kicks. Um, so the club was also registered because, while these girls are training under the academy, their full year training, I didn't want these girls. The option was for them to go to other clubs and play for different clubs. But I thought, if they're training together, why not put them together in a club and actually give them that platform to be competitive, and that platform to be scouted for by other clubs or by the national team. So yeah, so that's how the club was registered. So everything. So it's naturally come down to a good structure where we have the academy set up, the grassroots set up, and then the club set up as well. And the long-term objective with Cheekix FC is to hopefully qualify for the IWL through this pyramid, of topping the state league and then qualifying for the IWL. That'll be the best day.
And that's of course a huge challenge as well on the other side.
Yeah.
But the question then is, um, Aditi Chauhan the player. Now we're talking
Mhm.
about Aditi Chauhan, the club owner, the entrepreneur, the philanthropist. How difficult is it to run a women's club
It's,
in an
it's
Indian
very
context?
difficult. Yeah, it's quite very difficult. With it's not easy to get sponsors. It's not get easy to get funding. So everything that I've done, even the club registration and everything, that was done. That was through my own money. I invested my own money into it. One other reason to actually get some support and donations to actually sponsor a few of the underprivileged girls training. Because of that, I registered a foundation as well, Aditi Chauhan Foundation. So, like, try to set up all the structure and have all these things uh, to best support the girls. That the whole intention about for doing any of this has always been, how do I make this journey? What do the girls need? What does a professional player or a girl who has that ambition or a dream to play for the country or play professionally? What are the right things that they need? The environment, the professional environment that they need in order to get there. So everything that I've done and I continue to do is to provide that environment, to make sure that the girls get the right environment and support to get there.
And that's a big challenge. Akshata sitting in the background, she's one of those persons who have bought a Shikix
Yes.
shirt, so to say, to show her public support. How important is it that people within the ecosystem, people who support women's football, want to support you, do that, in that, even if it's in a small way, what they do that?
Yeah, so we're running a crowdfunding platform on Milap to support the underprivileged girls. So that's something that obviously every contribution matters. The Akshata getting that T-shirt also contributes to that. So again, I mean, the whole idea of She Cakes is also to build that community of people. It's not just about the girls; it's about the people who want to support the girls, who want to encourage girls to play sports, to take up sports, and by taking up sports, it doesn't have to be at the professional level, or everyone will be able to make it to the top level. It's I'm sure the people who've played sports know the values that you get, the life lessons, the soft skills, everything that you learn while playing a sport is something you'll never ever be able to get from studies or from books. It's quite unique and very, very useful in every walk of your life, no matter what career you choose. I've seen that happen in in my career and in my life, and that's what I encourage to do through She Kicks to other girls and other people as well.
Yeah, football is something that life lessons which you learn in the game. I think
Yeah.
which cannot be replaced, and that's I think also the beauty of this beautiful game.
Yeah, and something like something like this, like having getting an injury. What's your mental approach to how do you get back? So each and everything, little thing, it's very easy to give up. Very easy to say I'm done with the game, or it takes that's what I've realized now, that it takes an extra mentality. That it's a different mentality for you to get over that hurdle. And that's what sports does. I mean, if it wasn't for sports, or if it wasn't for me to play professionally, or having that dream to play professionally, continue playing. And also another reason was that I don't want my injury to define when I end my career. It is me who's going to decide when I decide to hang up my boots, or I say that I've had enough and I'm happy with what I've achieved and I take a step back. So these are little things that I've experienced it myself, and I know that it can do wonders for anyone who plays sports.
You speak about the injury again. Did you speak with other athletes, players who've had injury problems? I know Baladevi had a problem in the recent past. Other players, Sandesh Chingan, all these guys have had problems. Well, have you spoken to other Indian footballers or footballers abroad about this phase of this mental strength that you need in this recovery phase?
Not really. I haven't really had a long discussion, a long, hard discussion, because I've gone through it once. This is my second ACL injury. So I know exactly what it is. And I know, no matter how much you speak, no matter how much help you get, of course, that's helpful to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, it's you who decides. Everything, it doesn't come from within, nobody can help you. So, yeah, so I think, it is a hard and challenging journey, but ultimately it's just like the biggest test of your mentality. And I love a
Yeah, that's
competition.
yeah, and it's a big competition, right? Because you're
Yeah,
fighting not against others, but actually you're fighting against yourself to get yourself fit again. I think that's
yeah,
the biggest challenge in this situation.
yeah,
One thing which I realized, which you've mentioned earlier, but I didn't ask, is you've mentioned your parents, you've
yeah.
mentioned your brother. How was it when in that situation when that you spoke about, Love Bara was a huge challenge, but what was it when your parents sort of gotten to know that you wanted to try and make sports, you wanted to try and make football your career? Was the support there, or was this a healthy sort of level of skepticism, which I guess would be normal for Indian parents, and
Yeah.
especially even more for a girl than even for a boy?
And more so for a military family, because they had no exposure to the outside world, right? So they the only thing that they know was a stable career was either you get a government job or you become a doctor or engineer. That those are stable career choices for anyone, whether it's a boy or a girl. And so that was the same. They were apprehensive, they were skeptical about the long term. Sports management करके करोगे क्या? There was nothing like a sports manager. There's no sports industry as such. So yeah, it was a fair question to ask, a fair skepticism as well. So, but I did my research. There was certain things that were coming up in India. IPL was already happening, but there was news about other sports also developing, those leagues and things happening. So, yeah, I did my research, but a huge part was played by my brother as well. my elder brother. So obviously my parents were more convinced by by him. Yeah, and it helped that he also decided to do MBA in sports management after completing his engineering. So he was always into sports as well, but यही जो मतलब coming from military family, engineering कर दो at least stable like backup option or whatever. For them, it was the main option, but for my brother, it was a backup option. So yeah, so that's how my journey was, and a lot a big part, honestly. But after I convinced them and we convinced them, they have been really solid. Nothing that I have achieved or have done would have been possible without their support. Whether it was on the field or off the field. In fact, Abhi bhi, like because of this injury, obviously naturally I was very frustrated. I was like, I'm not, I'm done and all of that. My mom's like, I'm not letting you give up like this. This is not how you're gonna go from the sport. And she was honestly the one who said that you have to come back. She was the first one to say that and believe that, and I can't be more grateful for that.
Great, lovely to hear. And that's, I think, very, very important, family support
Yeah.
when you then decide to take up a sport. Um, we've spoken about the footballer, the entrepreneur, let's say, you've spoken about sports management. What does Aditi Chauhan want to do once those football boots will hang on the wall? What's your plan? Is She Kicks going to be your full time thing? Can it be your full time thing? Because I said you are spending your own money to keep it running, or are you looking at potential options of doing, maybe working within the football ecosystem, maybe working for a club? What's your aim? Do you want to maybe even go into coaching? Who knows? I'm just asking
Yeah, I
questions.
mean, I honestly like I don't. I've always said that coaching is not my thing, but now I don't know what the reason is, but now when I'm watching a game or when I'm seeing a game, I think from a coach's perspective, like this should be happening. Why aren't they doing this? So I don't know. I'm not saying no to anything. I'm definitely going to be involved in football and in this industry using my knowledge and my experience over these years. Who knows? Maybe I could be coaching an ISL club someday, or
That
running,
would be great.
a state. Yeah, I honestly want to
You've
keep
you've
all
tried your
my
hands in
options open. I know I
you've
can
tried yeah yeah you've tried your hands in
commentary.
commentary. Is that something maybe for you
Yes,
to be an expert commentator and
yeah.
analyze matches?
Yeah, that is something that I really enjoy. Honestly, it's good to be talking about the game. Like I said, be involved in the sport. Even in commentary, I get to see the match from a different perspective, and that's something that I really enjoy. And talk about how the players are feeling from on the field, and that I bring that aspect in commentary as well. So yeah, like I mean, a lot of options. I'm happy with the kind of opportunities that I've created for myself once I decide to hang up my boot. But yeah, I just want to keep my options open and not say no to anything right now.
And with your international connects, things in India, or could Aditi Chauhan be going global again?
Global, global. I'm always thinking big. You have to think big to achieve something. I mean, my ambitions are very big. I always ask myself a lot of things, and I challenge myself every time. So I want to keep it big, think big, thinking global. Yeah, why should I restrict myself to something, to a small thing? Yeah, keeping my options open always,
And
my
that's
thought
very
open.
important, right? And it's
Yeah,
thought open,
yeah,
options open, because you never know, no, where a door could open, an
yeah,
interesting door could open, and you just need to walk through and do it. I come
absolutely.
to an
And
interesting section. Yeah,
and sorry,
tell me.
just to add that with the growing interest of companies and clubs from abroad in India, there's certainly a lot of options and a lot of opportunities that I see coming up in the future. So just want to keep myself open to all of that.
Very, very fine and very, very good. I come to a section which we allow users to ask questions via Twitter. Akshata normally sends out a tweet mentioning who's going to be one of our next guests, and we got some interesting questions. I start with the most interesting one, which I feel is which I wouldn't have asked, but again, Nisarg Mehta is asking, "Are you vegan?"
No.
That
No, I'm
that's
not.
the trend of the hour, I
I
think,
love
with the men's game, which was starting with a certain gentleman called Sunil Chetri, and I think I've heard a
yes,
lot of male players have now become vegan.
yes.
Is veganism a topic within the women's national team at all, or is
Not
I mean,
not
diet of course is
Yeah, I know we try to jump on that wagon also, me including myself, but I just quickly realized that I love chicken, and and so have the other players as well. And for to follow veganism, you have to there are a lot of things that you need to have access to in order to get those protein intake and everything. So which obviously I don't have, and so I'm happy with the normal non-vegetarian diet.
so you have your cheat meals as well, right?
Yeah, sometimes, of course. Right now, I've been very, very strict.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, yes, of course. Sometimes you want to go out and have those cheat meals. I love घर के बने हुए छोले भटूरे. That's my favorite
Okay.
meal. Whenever I come back from a camp or a tournament, I ask my mom to make it for me.
Right. Some of the questions we've discussed in a little bit, but still, I want to give credit to people who wanted to ask you questions. The dissenter has asked, has she recuperated from her injury? When can we expect to see her back in action? Again, the second part is when. When do you hope to be yourself back onto the field? Will you be ready for the next season
इंजरी की
of
बात मत
women's
करो
football India?
यार.
Sorry.
No, I'm joking. I'm just, yeah, I mean, I also don't know, yeah. I really I'm itching to get back on the field as soon as I can, but I also have to be patient. Yeah, so just gonna stay patient and listen to the doctors, listen to the physios, and come back when I'm ready.
Be a good Aditi, so to say.
Yeah, yeah. Not the crazy Aditi that I usually am.
Exactly. There's something that people say about goalkeepers, but that's taking it to another level, right? Roshan Kuruvilla had, I found, as always, Roshan, who's also based here in Germany, Roshan has an interesting question. What do Indian women's goalkeeper lack compared to the international level? And then the second question he adds, what could help women's footballers getting a pathway after the active career? So we've spoken a little about it. And then a compliment, and great to see Aditi as TV expert. So that's what Roshan said.
Love to hear that.
Uh,
Yes. Sorry, what was the first part of the question? The
what
career
do
options.
Indian in that's the second. The first one was Indian goalkeepers. What do you think lacks compared to the international level of being really top class, world class
All the
goalkeepers?
players, you mean? Yeah. All just the goalkeepers.
Generally,
Players.
if you want to specifically go with goalkeepers, or you can generalize it with players as well.
I think the
What lacks?
biggest difference that we have is that from my experience, every girl who is interested to play football, they are playing twice every week, and they have a full 6 to 7 month long season. Whether you're playing at an amateur level, whether you're playing at semi-professional or professional, there are 4 or 5, I think, divisions, leagues that are running. At least in England, from the experience I've had, so even if it's a Sunday league, or you're just playing on Sundays, or you're playing for a university, or you're playing for a semi-professional professional club, so naturally when you're playing competitive matches, you get better. No matter how much training you do, it's the matches that make you better. And that is the biggest difference when you're playing about 30, 40, 50 matches in a year, compared to here. If you're playing, I don't know how many matches now. We've started playing a few because of IWL, but before that, I remember there were years, when throughout the year we didn't have a single match, and we used to just wait for a match to be announced. So that's the biggest difference, I think, and that's why I keep pushing and I keep emphasizing that having a professional league and professional setup, full league, is the basic requirement, if we really want to improve football in India.
That's, I think, the need. The second one was regarding career pathway post playing career. Now you have created a pathway for yourself. There are other players in the Indians women national team or Indian women setup who've created pathways for themselves. But what would you suggest to younger girls who are playing? Should they be thinking about what they're going to do in the future once their career
Absolutely.
is about to end?
Absolutely. No, no. I think first of all, I would say that do not compromise on your studies. I never did. It is wrong, this mentality of you have to choose between sports and studies. I don't think that's true at all. Managed to balance both the thing. Yes, you have to compromise maybe on your social life a little bit because there's only so many hours in a day, right? So you have to prioritize. That's the most important thing. Your sports and studies, for me, took the priority. I had to compromise on my social life. I don't have a lot of school friends that I could hang out with. I don't remember going to parties in my school, movies and all of these this bonding time. I invested that time and energy in sports. So that's a choice that you have to make. If keeping your clarity in your vision and in your dreams, that's something that you have to take. You have to decide. And studies is something that you I would really encourage everyone to keep doing it, whether you're doing it online, part time or whatever, but continue doing your studies because sports football is a contact sport. You never know what's going to happen next. You might not be picked by the team that you desire or you're aiming for. You might get an injury that could end your career. It's very very important to have that backup option. And just stay connected with the game. I think that is the most important, and figure out what could you do if you're not able to play football at the level that you desire to.
Very, very important insights and infos for people who are looking post career. And I think that brings us to the last Twitter question, which has come from Sarthak Mondal, who asked, why did she feel the need to pursue another executive course in sports management after already pursuing one from arguably one of the best universities in the world of sports?
Yes, very interesting question because when I decided to do MSc Sports Management at Loughborough, I was very young. I just graduated, and this was a very I loved the course. But now over these years, with the initiative that I have and everything that I've experienced, I'm very clear on what are the things that I need to learn, that I need to get better at, and that is the reason why I decided to do this sports management, because I love the structure of the course. I know the people who are doing the course. Gaurav, I mean, who are in charge of the course. Gaurav, Neil, Pinky. I know they're experts in their field, and I knew that and the mentorship, the structure of the program, the mentorship that you get from the experts from within the industry. Uh, so I know exactly what I want from this course. I know what are the questions I need to ask, what are the things that I need to learn and improve my knowledge on. So that course was a good setting the groundwork, but now it is more about, for me at least, I know exactly what I want to achieve from this course, and these are the people who can help me get there, and structure and everything that I need to excel in my personal towards, and take those steps towards my personal goals.
But how, on top of that, how important are the potential exchanges with the male footballers
Yeah,
who are
it's
there
really
part of the course as
interesting.
well?
It's really interesting. I love our conversations, their input and the energy that they bring in those sessions. It's good to get their perspective also, because and for me to share mine, because that educates them also, that gives them also that experience of, from, because I'm the only female in our batch. So I bring in a lot of that, and we have these debates, these conversations. So it's fun. I love to hear from them, and I love sharing my input as well.
Great to hear, and I think it's a holistic thing for, I think, all of you who are able to do that course at GISB, and hopefully it'll help you. Akshata had also a question regarding sponsorship in women's football and women's footballers. How do you see that? Is it transforming? We've seen a while back, for example, Ashalata doing an endorsement for a sports brand, other athletes doing other things. How important is that? How important is that also for you?
It's really nice to see, honestly. It's a long time coming. It's high time that the corporates, the brands start realizing the potential, start backing the girls, and support them in this journey. Because, like I said, financially, and it's not just the financial aspect, but also the branding that they help bring. It's helping people to get to know about these athletes through these big brands as well. So that's also an important factor that contributes in spreading the awareness about the game and getting more fans and engagement through the process. So obviously there's still it's not ideal situation. We still need more sponsors. We need people to support the girls even more. But it's good to see that the few big brands at least have started taking that step. And I'm sure as the game grows, I think that is obviously the base of any brand to be interested to, because I understand the business aspect of it as well. So they also need to get something out in that. So as the game grows, I think we'll definitely see more sponsors. I i have seen a big growth in terms of the interest of the brands towards women's football. But we also need to show a good product for them to be more interested.
And that's, I think, another challenge that there is higher quality with the number of teams, of course, increasing as well.
Yeah,
Maybe less teams, but more
quality.
actionful matches. Quality might be important. Final question before we end. Social media is important for you.
Yeah,
You love your pranks. You love fun.
yeah.
You're now an older player. Lifestyle is also something which you try to depict. What is the plan, the shebang sort of Aditi Chauhan when it comes to social media, especially Instagram?
I just honestly, there's no plan, there's no structure. I just share what I feel like sharing. Yeah, I just trying to be honest, with what I feel, how I feel, what I want to show, and share honestly with the people who are following me. Obviously there's a lot of things that you can't share everything on social media. There's certain things that you have to keep private. That's also part of your that's your private life. But yeah, but otherwise, I honestly, the idea for me, and that's something that I want to work on, is to share more of the things that I've experienced that can help my followers or the people who are watching me on social media. So like things on goalkeeping or the career options or whatever I've experienced. I want to share more of that. But I've just not been able to structure that and yeah, put that out.
But how important in recent days you've shown some of the things that you're doing in recovery. How
Hmm.
important is to show that, because I guess I've asked now multiple times. A lot of people will be asking you how you're doing, how's it going,
Yeah.
when are you coming back. That you're showing sort of, okay, listen, guys,
Yeah.
I'm slowly getting back into the
Yeah.
groove, and
That's the
hopefully we'll be
idea.
back on the field.
That's the idea with that. This is what is happening, and I share a little bit of how I'm feeling also with it. It's all, and if you read the captions, it's all coming from straight from my heart that this is actually what it is. It's hard and everything, but I'm positive and I'm pushing myself. And also the other reason is that anyone else who's probably gone through it or might go through it in the future, they know what it how it is, how it feels like. When to start physio, what time, why is the physio needed. So all of these things that I know that there's lack of awareness about. So yeah, that is also another reason why I put up all of that in on my social media.
And that's the reason why people should follow you on social media. Aditi, thanks a lot for taking time out,
Thank you.
and giving us a little bit of an insight about who you are, where you've come from, what your journey has been, and what all you really do. I think that's also important for people to realize that you're not just playing football, but you're setting up your own sort of ecosystem as well. Hopefully, that girls can really profit from your knowledge, from your understanding, also from your hardships that you've had in
Yeah,
your career. So once again, thanks a lot. And
thank you.
despite, of course, asking a few questions on it, I still wanted to wish you all the best on your
Thank you.
recovery, because I
No,
would
I
love to see you
appreciate
back
it.
on
I
the
know.
field.
I mean, I get where it's coming from, and I appreciate that. But yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure as always, Arun.
Thanks a lot, Aditi, and all of you who are listening to this Candid Football Conversation. Thanks a lot for tuning in once more. Follow Sports Cobri, follow Arun Foot. subscribe, like, share, and yeah, let people know that we've got this little conversation going on, not only with footballers, but hopefully from India, but from the world as well. And speak to you soon. Thanks a lot, and bye.